Welcome everyone to the Rainmaker Report. This is Andy Thompson, and here are 3 late-breaking cybersecurity stories that you need to know about. So first up, Medical Billing and Collection Services, or MCBS, just disclosed a data breach affecting 1.2 million people, and the Pair ransomware crew is claiming that they walked out with 3 terabytes of medical information. Now, for a medical billing company, this is about as bad as it's going to get. And here's what we know so far, okay? So MCBS handles billing and collections for healthcare providers, meaning that they sit on a mountain of patient financial and medical information. The company detected suspicious activity on their network back in August and then brought outside forensics in and then confirmed that, yes, attackers had access to systems that did contain sensitive files. Yeah, now Pair is listing MCBS on their leak site and claiming the full 3 terabyte haul. So let's talk about what's actually in those files. Now, according to MCBS, the exposed data includes names, dates of birth, social security numbers, driver's license numbers, and financial account details, health insurance information, medical records, diagnosis and treatment data, and billing information. Yeah, that's a lot. Yeah, that's basically the full identity theft starter pack combined with, protected health information. So if you wanted like the worst possible case for a consumer, yeah, this is pretty close. So let's talk about affected individuals here. They span across multiple healthcare providers across the U.S. because MCBS is a business associate and not the provider itself. So if you get a notification letter from MCBS, even though you've never actually heard of them, well, it's because your doctor or hospital outsourced their billing to them. That's how these third-party breaches sneak up on people. Now, MCBS says that they're offering, credit monitoring and identity protection to affected individuals, and they've notified law enforcement and regulators, which is great. It's the standard playbook, but, no word from them on whether, they paid the ransom or not. But Pair going public with the listing kind of suggests that the negotiations either failed or never happened. So what do we need to do? If you get a letter from MCBS, well, take it seriously, okay? Freeze your credit in all 3 bureaus right now. It's free. It's really the most effective thing that you can do right now. Also, other things you could do would be like turn on transaction alerts for your bank accounts, and then watch for explanation of benefits for medical charges that you don't recognize. And yes, take advantage of the monitoring that they're offering. I mean, it's free, right? Because folks, we're talking about medical identity theft. It can take years to surface and recover from. So trust me, you want to get on this now. All right, let's move on to our next story. There's a new info stealer making the rounds called Dolphin X, and it's doing something that should make every SOC analyst a little uncomfortable. It's using AI to rank its victims. So instead of dumping a million stolen credential sets into a criminal marketplace and hoping something sells, no, the malware is now doing the triage itself. It's actually figuring out who to rob first. So it all works with this, again, Dolphin X info stealer. It's really kind of a malware as a service. It's doing all the regular stuff, browser passwords, crypto wallets, session tokens, cookies, autofill data, the whole works. But here's the thing, okay? This is the twist. This AI profiler then scores each of those infected machines based on what it finds. So if it finds things like corporate VPN configs, crypto balances, admin tokens, things access like financial portals or cloud platforms, all of that's going to be weighed higher, and the operator behind it's going to see this list of victims ranked from most valuable to least. And this really matters because historically, these sorts of stealer logs were basically like drinking from a fire hose. Yeah, criminals had to manually sift through the thousands of infected machines and find out whether any of them were worth any good. It takes a lot to find out whether this corporate SSO token actually works or not, right? Or whether a crypto balance holds any money. This again is a very slow process and can take weeks of time, and that's weeks of time that have to go by and undetected. And well, Dolphin X is collapsing all of that. So if you get an infected machine on Monday and your machine has enterprise credentials on it, you're going to get targeted by Tuesday. Okay. And the evidence that's coming from this is coming from researchers that have been watching these underground forums, and they're seeing that this AI ranking feature, it's being pitched as the main selling point. It's not hyped up like Apple Intelligence was. No, this is like the real deal and already in production. So what's next, you might ask? Well, I would expect other Steeler families to copy this feature really, really fast. So Luma, Redline, whoever's still standing after all the takedowns, they're all going to bolt on this sort of AI ranking capability within the next weeks to months, okay? So your takeaway in all of this, okay? Assume that, a single infected endpoint in your environment will now get flagged as a high priority target by the threat actors in hours, not weeks like it used to potentially be. So your assignment, really, your homework is really shorten the session token lifetimes and treat every stealer alert like an active targeted intrusion, because now, especially now, it is. All right, moving on to our last story, and this one is terrifying. So if you've logged into your corporate Microsoft 365 account from a hotel Wi-Fi recently, you might want to keep listening. All right, so ReliaQuest is warning about a widespread cyber espionage campaign that's targeting the hospitality sector. And the attackers aren't going directly after the hotel patrons themselves per se. They're going after the hotel's network infrastructure. Again, they're not going after you directly, but they're going after, well, here's what's happening, all right? Attackers are compromising the routers and the DNS infrastructure inside the hotel networks, because once they own the DNS, they can quietly redirect the traffic to anywhere they want. So you legitimately type in login.microsoftonline.com, and the network hands you back a pixel-perfect fake sign-in that's hosted on attacker infrastructure. So you enter your credentials, you pop in the MFA, and boom, the session is now in the hands of someone else, and who knows? And this really matters now, because this really flips the whole trust model we in the industry were previously giving. We were used to kind of calming the chicken little, saying it's okay to be on these sorts of public Wi-Fi because of the fact that this is encrypted through TLS, the HTTPS and the check marks and whatnot. But here's the thing. When the DNS is itself lying to you, that URL, well, it can look completely legitimate, but completely point you to a malicious IP. And hotel networks are like the perfect hunting ground for threat actors, because you have a high turnover of hotel patrons. And think about it, the types of people, we're talking like executives from every industry, IT teams. We're logging into this all the time. And the evidence here really points to targeted espionage operations. So specific hotels. This is not just like a smash and grab crime still. So that's somewhat comforting. ReliaQuest tracked this activity aimed specifically at harvesting Microsoft 365 credentials, which lines up with a pattern of state-aligned groups going after corporate email, SharePoint, and Teams data. Also, BleepingComputer's reporting confirms the DNS hijack technique and also the M365 focus. So, what's next? I would expect this sort of playbook to continue to spread. Things like airport lounges, conference venues, and co-working spaces. Yeah, really anywhere where transient professionals like to connect. So, Your takeaway here, folks, I guess, is go back to the old model. Stop trusting hotel Wi-Fi for anything sensitive. Use your phone's hotspot or a corporate VPN that actually tunnels the DNS. And if your company still allows password-based Microsoft 365 logins on the road, you'll really want to do things like phishing-resistant MFA, like hardware keys, because frankly, you should have been doing that a long time ago. All right, folks. Well, that about wraps up today's stories. I know it was a lot, but thank you for sticking around. This is Andy Thompson signing off.